completely online, and Malthael delivered, the synergy unfolded with Li Ming. It was just too much for the good guys to handle. And there's always that pressure at that front line. So let's see if maybe on the second map they can change it up.
Yeah, we'll see if that becomes their way. Also, there's a lot of different heroes that can be played here on this battleground. We've seen the Vikings before. We've also seen Medivh played pretty often.
Illidan.
Illidan could be played on this hero. Man, that really just went into my subconscious out of nowhere. That was good. Yeah.
That's how we roll.
That's how we roll.
Give me that hunt.
That's how we roll.
I'm ready for it. Feel the hatred of 10,000 Hero League games.
Dahaka also play on this battleground pretty often, having the ability to double soak lanes could be good. It's actually interesting. We went through a phase where we saw Leoric with the Royal Focus build playing very often on this battleground, and he fell off pretty aggressively.
Yeah, it's just a matter of what kind of style you want to play. For example, we went in some of the games extremely teamfight heavy, where the teams want to go for their snipe comps and not play the map so much. But Leoric is always an option here.
Always an option, get that Royal Focus, Lingering Aberration, work at the top to the middle, be very Dahaka-esque, come into the team fights, and of course, keep moving forward. And now that Zul is getting played more often too, he actually kind of works on this battleground occasionally. It's a little bit of a push. I wouldn't say just straight up first pick him, but it can work.
Don't get too excited. This is not Tricked Esports playing here. They're not getting tricked.
Well, Zul was promised for next week by Alex Proji, so we better see something against Dignitas. All right, here we go.
He already delivered several times on his Zul.
Yeah, but we didn't get
new Zul.
But we didn't get it today. I need it every single series at least once, or that's not Tricky
You're
Sports.
so greedy.
I know, man. I push for everything here. Medivh is banned out, so Team Good Guys will not allow that to happen, and Illidan. So the main staples for both these teams right now, no longer available.
Yeah, so Illidan, he was a given on the map, but the experts just simply ban him out immediately, saying, yeah, we're not going to deal with the hunt here. So the Good Guys have to change their MO a little bit. Again, when we looked at them and at their most dominant, when they really did well against Dignitas, for example, and got 2 maps out of them, what they basically did, they relied on a core draft that evolved around double support, Illidan, having a Stitches, and then usually Lunara. And whenever one of the heroes was banned or taken away from them, they simply kept the draft or the idea of the draft alive and subbed out that hero with another version. So oftentimes when the Illidan was targeted, they went straight into Malthael as the other option. Now, they haven't shown it last week when they played, and that's the one thing where I'm a little bit worried. Okay, are they changing everything up right now? Do they try all the other drafts, or are they just simply experimenting a little bit more? So for me, the draft is going to show that a little bit. And another hero that I am still curious about after they played it and Expert played it in the past would be the Vikings.
Vikings was played by ADRD. He ran the split push Balog build, which a lot of people really enjoyed seeing.
It was a while ago. He got a lot of compliments from other Viking players there too, just because how he played it. And he also played it with a longbow, so that was pretty cool for the team fights. We haven't seen the Vikings in some time, a few weeks on the map, but it's always one of the options that you can go into if you are trying to focus more on the battleground than the actual fights, if you're focusing the macro game more. So the Good Guys have shown a bit of Vikings play on a different map. I'm just curious to see if that's going to become more of a trend for them, or if that was a very isolated incident.
Well, Noob and Greymane will be grabbed here for Expert on the left side. Stitches was grabbed last time for the tank, but here they're running a Noobrack. A Noobrack I feel like is a little bit better on this battleground too. You get the dives that you would like to, can hold down those bell towers really well because he has 2 forms of CCs with the Impale and the Burrow Charge. Also, the Cocoon if they ever try to go for a hard engage. So, nice pickup here for Team Expert.
Yeah, Expert with a true and tried combo right at the start here. Again, not taking Genji, by the way. So that's the one thing that stands out a little bit, that Genji has just fallen off in that priority. So the Good Guys are now all of a sudden faced with a choice. Do we go into Genji with the Dragon Blade here, or do we actually value something else highly enough to not take him, which would very probably result in them having to use a ban to get rid of him.
I mean, it's getting to the point where Uther's getting so good at actually stopping that Genji that they feel like they can't do much. And the more I see Genji against Uther, it feels like he just gets locked down and he can't be effective. So maybe he's giving it away as the option that Expert is going to start moving into. Maybe we'll see more teams do that. A Divine Storm, the Benediction at 16, just really makes it hard for him to be effective.
Yeah, it just... You are right. It makes it harder for him to be effective.
But you give it away to the opponent.
You just have to, well, as a Genji, you just can't play like a brain dead monkey anymore. Where you just go into the backline and say like, you can do nothing. 4 heroes, I jump in all of them. Then you get punished. So you have to play a little more careful.
That's exactly how I play Genji.
that's how most of us play Genji. So, and then we are surprised. Wait, dashing into 5 stuns kills me?
Yeah, you don't realize it until after you die. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe that wasn't the play.
What do you mean? What do you mean I can die? Can you explain that? So no, I really think that Uther is of course a fantastic tool against Genji, no doubt about it. But I think as a Genji player, you will still get your value. You just have to play a lot more careful and really assess the situation a little bit different. So I just to come back to that point, I don't think that Uther counters Genji to the extent where you say, please take Genji, take him. We don't even want him because we can completely shut him down. I don't think it's that much just yet, but he's probably the best hero to have in your team when you're going up against the Italian Ninja.
Yeah, quite the deterrent. Now, Stitches is going to be banned out by Team Expert. This is actually becoming more of a staple more in Europe. We have a Nubek usually picked up, or Stitches banned, as Stitches usually is a counterpick for the best tanks right now in the HGC. We're seeing a little bit more Murden in the mix as of late because of those type of bans, but again, Stitches being banned out, never a bad choice when you're facing off against your opponents. Malthy will be banned out for Team Good Guys, making sure that top lane isn't going to be very effective, especially when you have a Dahak, because Malthy just shuts down that lane and forces you to use Brush Talk more than you want.
And Expert has already shown the hero, so you want to make sure that you take him away there. That forces then a hero into a different hero. Could be, especially now with also the Abathar in play, could be the Sonya. They could, well, if they go Sonya now and they still go for their main healer, it would force them into a playstyle where they have only Grey main for the range. But still, I actually don't hate it. I actually think you could definitely drop the Sonya here, because if you don't, where do you put Aethero? Aethero usually plays the solo laner, and normally for him it's one of the melees. So do you really put him away from this? Greymane can just like poke a little bit more and only commit in the later stages. I would still like a Sonya here. Go in with the leap, it's super hyper aggressive, with Abathar now also helping her out, keeping her alive when you don't have the copy on the Greymane.
Or, hear me out, I saw you smile.
Okay.
Alarak.
Yeah?
Alarak and the Genji, you get the silences that you want. You also can lock down Uther long enough before he does with those heals, bring out the Cursed Bullet, and lock him down.
No, Alarak overall, I actually like him, and Aethero has said several times he feels the hero is good enough to be played in certain situations. I see more so on Tomb and other maps. I'm not sure if they would really go on towers here in this situation now for Alarak. But overall, I don't hate him. I just think
changes that for me.
I just think overall Sonya would be the better option for them. But he has a couple of additional heroes that he can branch out into.
I think actually with the Varian coming in, I wouldn't mind the Leoric instead for the wave clear, and because you want to have the options for if your Varian or your Leoric dies, you're able to come back. We'll have to see what comes in though, as he definitely has to get that top laner.
Yeah. I mean, they are thinking about this. It's not a snap lock for them. There's definitely different options that are floating around right now. It depends highly on how they are trying to play this game. They can play with the Leoric, try to get the Royal Focus build and get the soak between the two lanes. But Abathar is most likely going to try and do exactly that, get that soak.
Sure.
So then you would force the 4-man to have Abathar in it, which is always a little bit awkward. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not sure if I would like the Leoric that much. But you don't necessarily have to only go for the Sonya here. We have seen enough other heroes that you can play there.
Would Tracer be weird? No, it's probably a little bit out there with the Variant. I'm trying to think of all the heroes I've seen from Aethero in the past.
I don't think they have the overlap for that.
Yeah.
But I'm also not sure.
Let's see what happens. It's going to be the Sonya.
Yeah, okay. So
My blades are yours.
there we go.
The blades are out. As Team Expert, we'll be having Sonya, Greymane, Rhaegar, and Nubrak as their 4-man with Abther soaking. But against Double Global and a Genji, could be a bit difficult for them.
Give leap.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, against the... So, with what we are seeing right now and the Variant being played, most likely what we're going to have on Falstad is him going into Boomerang build, Gathering Storm. So, he has more of a split push potential as well. They have a really good tool set now to play the map heavily and then in team fights try to look for a blow up. And that could be all that they need here. But it's also, you need to play this draft very smart. So a lot of minimap awareness, make sure that you never get in caught, and that can definitely work. But I would say that Sonya is likely to go leap again. This is what Aethero has been doing in 80% of his games on Sonya. I think we've seen 2 where he went into Wrath, and there was very special setups that they had for it. So they're going to try and jump on the Falstad. They're going to try and get those kills, especially with Abathar helping out with a head on Sonya.
Yeah.
The threat is so much more against that backline. So if they play it safe, the good guys that is, and play the macro game, they have a pretty good chance to set themselves ahead.
And what I like about Team Good Guys Draft 2 here is that typically with the rotation that we have here from Expert, you have your Greymane, your Rhaegar, and your Sonya, all heroes that are great at clearing the mercs on Towers of Doom. But with double globals being up, suddenly you think twice about going for an invade or trying to kill out those mercs because you might get picked off by your opponents, especially when you have a variant on the opposing team. You're like, oh, we can force stuff before 10 because variant's not the best tank in the world. But now with the False End and Dahaka here, double global can really slow that down and allow them to get to 10 safely. Let's go ahead and start game number 2. It's Towers of Doom. We currently have Expert up 1-0, but the good guys are looking to tie it up.
Towers of Doom for a second map, and to the left we have the good guys, sorry, the Experts. The good guys starting on the opponent's side. We have Bad Benny on Anubarak, Aethero on Sonya, Nick on Greymane, AD on Abathar, and Curson on Rhaegar as we're heading into game number 2.
On the right side, in the red, we have Anti on Dahaka, Zay on Genji, Raid Boss playing Falstad, BKB on Varian, and Kronaz on the Uther.
So let's see if this time they can make it happen and tie the series up again. The good guys here currently behind, but with a double global, they have the tools to control the map. The question is Team Expert going to allow that, or are they going to force these fights that they want? Abathar, of course, makes it a bit difficult for them in the early game to go into full team fights, but he has that side soak available for them, and this is what they're looking for.
All right, so the harassment already beginning here. Watching out for those fights that are coming in. BKB putting a little bit of pressure on Rhaegar, but not much you can do as a variant. Typically, you wait till you're level 4 to where you get that protection, to where you can be effective in a fight, working those auto attacks, but you wait till 10 to get that taunt, where you become a real menace for the opposing team. Genji, on the left side here for Team Good Guys, is waiting for the rotations, but Expert, they're not doing anything too crazy. They're just going to go ahead and float around and soak and soak.
We also have the Gathering Storm taken as the level 1 talent for Falstad as expected with the variant combo. Xay is extremely low and could fall here, and he does, as Abathar helps out right away. Bad Benny in the meantime with a decent record here on Nubarak, 8-3 so far in HGC. BKB just quickly saying hello to Nick before he moves out again.
Region Master for level 1 on the Nubarak. Looking over to Team Good Guys. Not a bad pick overall. Seems pretty decent. You're going to be able to get yourself set up for, of course, the shields for the late game, but typically, you get that dampened magic at level 1. Doesn't matter though, as Team Expert still bites back and gets the harassment and takes out the variant.
Without a level 4, he's just a bit too vulnerable here at that moment, and that is another kill. Against the good guys, the Experts with super pressure in the early game. They run the Abathar composition, but they still get the value. They get the kills, they have the roaming, and they're also getting structures now, dropping the tower in the mid lane. In the meantime, ADRD is just plastering the toxic nests all over the place. This is a fantastic start into the game for the Experts, and they pick up an early level 4 as a reward.
Yeah, part of it is that sheer power of all the individual heroes. I mean, look at it. You have Greymane, Rhaegar, and Sonya. These are all heroes that can duel if they need to, and Nubarak gives them the engage. Team Good Guys also drafted a composition that comes line at the mid side, so Team Experts pushing the pressure here, even with them having an Abathar. They get one ult to the top left, and already working on the bottom here as they grab sappers and are pushing their opponents in. But Team Good Guys are hoping to make a stand.
Yeah, level 4 versus 4. Curson is low and nearly taken out, and well, scratch that. He is down as Genji secures the kill. Falstad was working hard for it, but in the end, we have Genji claiming it.
Out there soaking in the top lane. He did see Falstad fly. I don't know if I saw the brush stalker here from Dahaka, but so far he hasn't made a play. His body blocking is happening on the top.
What we just saw is, by the way, the most annoying thing when you play with a Genji on your team. I know that kill steals don't matter in Heroes of the Storm, but isn't that always the case? You work hard for a kill, and then when the final blow is about to be delivered, your Genji zips in, takes it, and then at the end it's like, look how many kills I got.
Slightly frustrating for sure. But hey, that's what happens, man. We got
You've been there, right?
I've been there once or twice.
We've all been there.
I mean, but you also have the other side of it too, is where there is someone that's supposed to be low on health, and you go for it, but they die, and then Genji gets stuck behind the towers, and he gets killed off, and then we all laugh at him.
Like this?
Like this, yes.
Genji down Expert. Once again with the coordination to get that kill, and Zay is really struggling there. So right now we have 3 kills against 1, but the big thing to take away from this is still that the good guys were able to claim 2 of the altars here. But we're still talking Abathar composition before level 10. So the Experts are just doing it. They're playing a great early game here, and that worries me a little bit for the later stages of this match. Then again, we have Varian after level 10, of course, in a bit of a better spot.
And that's always a scary moment. Every time you're playing against a variant, you're always thinking about that 10 looming around, that taunt coming in. Will you be picking up the cleanse, and then will you get out-traded? Now, Rhaegar does grab the cleanse, so that means Team Expert will have to watch out for those trades and try to be effective in their fights. And that might be possible with 10 coming on and that lead that's been here for Expert often. They have the coordination and the execution to make sure that works.
Just you watch, we're going to see the Colossal Smash coming in on 10. Anti-hero on half HP up at the top, and immediately everybody moves in here. But even with the globals, it doesn't matter. Uther is on the bot lane, and Varian doesn't rotate fast enough for the middle. So we see Dehaka fall, the camp stolen away, and Raid Boss also low in HP as the altar is spawning again. And BKB is probably not going to get that channel soon. Not quite.
Not with the hat, nope. Thuro gets the hat there, gets the harassment, and BKB will have to walk away. He will harass for as long as he can. There is still double global available with Dehaka head and straight to the top. I would assume that Thuro and crew will be able to take this altar, and they do. 4 more shots for Expert.
He could have fought for that though. They have the 2 globals, so they could have gone in for it. It's actually interesting that they simply let it go. Dehaka could have moved into the middle. Falset had his fly still up. And they had already Uther at the bot lane. Maybe they just thought they were too split for it and didn't want to take the fight. Didn't really work out for them, but they sacrificed another 4 shots therefore. So the altar is down, but they grabbed the experience at the top lane. So they are closing the gap to Team Expert. But level 10s, this is definitely going to be when things will be happening.
Bad Benny taking harassment there. We'll burrow a charge out. And you're right, the 10s is what we're all about here for both of our teams. And it's kind of odd to see double global a little bit behind experience, but you can tell from the kills that are coming in from Team Expert why that's happening. 4-1, and the invades that have been happening on these camps. In fact, I thought Expert would be the one starting these camps that are constantly occurring, but it's Team Good Guys going in for it. They just need to keep an eye on those and make sure to watch for the rotations.
Well, he's not watching out for the rotation too much. Expert is just having really crisp and clean rotations with 4 heroes, and every time Abathar is going to take the other lanes. You can see him on the minimap just changing his position depending on where his team is moving as for. So he soaks 1 or 2 lanes, and now at the top lane, the bell tower is claimed by Team Expert. It allows the good guys at least to get both of the Zapper camps towards the bot lane so they can start breaking through the structures and put some pressure on themselves. But it's just simply not enough to get an exchange in bell towers. So that means that we have the earlier level 10 for Team Expert, a 1 level lead still, in a great position in the game overall.
And it's going to be a leap here. In fact, they don't even hold it back. Straight up. Sonya picks leap and is willing to move in. A new Rekkis Cocoon too.
At this point, you really don't have to hide the leap anymore. We already all know that they love to play their style, and that's just been the thing for the last few weeks, so you're not going to shock anyone with that. Good guys, of course, did their homework as well, but so far, even that doesn't change things because Expert is just playing this way too crisp. Curse Bullet is now in, we have the copy for Abathar, and that makes it way more attractive for Team Expert to take team fights, and it's not like they had a bad game until now.
Genji starts the channel here. Sonya's in the bottom. Gonna have ADRD use the ultimate evolution clone to move in for it. Can he get the delay? He doesn't, barely missing out there. Even Bad Benny dropping the impale won't be enough.
It was still 5 shots against 3. And we see a kill against Uther. Leap comes in after Cocoon. They're going in once more. Anti-hero and BKB are still fighting. Raid Boss comes back and uses the gust. Nobody falling after the engage from the side by Sonya. But it's still a great spot for Team Expert to be in. First of all, they are ahead in points on the core. 29 to 27. They have the leading experience, level 12 to level 10. And they also have an additional bell tower and are about to grab another one down here at the bottom of the map.
Bad Benny and crew look more poised here against Team Good Guys, really just shutting them down. False is working on the bell tower in the top, but you're right, with the bell tower on the bottom might grab, now suddenly these Merc camps that will be spawning ever so often can be grabbed by Expert, and if they ever get into a spot where they think Team Good Guys is committing too much defense on the bottom side, they can rotate again to the top or even the middle and keep breaking down the bell towers with this 4-man unit due to Abathar.
Expert is... they're so far ahead right now. They're about to click level 13, and they play against a global comp, and they make them rotate on the map. It's crazy. They are the ones who always exchange one bell tower for a bell tower. They are moving in. They are going into the mid lane. They have the one at the bottom. The top is going to be taken soon, but now with the Zapper camps pushing in here, they can make another play for the middle. They could at some point even think about getting a boss started now that they have the level 13 talent. Which is exactly what they do.
Wow. An impressive lead here from Expert. Now, Don't count good guys out yet. It is looking really poor, especially with the composition that Team Expert has. But they do have Taunt, they do have the Divine Shield, they do have ways to force these fights, especially with Genji being on their team. But for the moment, Team Expert is controlling everything.
One of my problems with the taunt coming out here is, where is your damage coming from? Because the burst damage comes mainly through Boomerang right now. Genji can try and get the Dragon Blade in, but all of this should still be enough time for Rhaegar to get the Ancestral through.
Yeah, that's the burst that you would typically see the Greymans or the Li Mings that come in and bring the damage. Okay, so here it is. We're going to have a fight occur for our team's Divine Shield does come out. It hits Dahaka, and Genji gets deleted.
Yeah, no Divine Shield for him, so misclick here by Kronos, and therefore no chance for Genji. Kronos falls after Genji is dead, and ADRD on their copy is just moving in. That's another 5 shots fired. They get both of the altars, and that is all of a sudden 29 points on the core to 10 after boss was taken, and both of the altars have been claimed by the experts.
Oh man, that's getting sad. This seems to be a theme when you play against the good guys. They either just match you all the way till the end in some way or some form, eventually get a loss, or they kind of get shut down heavily. And right now, they're getting shut down heavily. I know the score or the experience looks okay, 14 level 13, but right now you're starting to see the fruits of the loom here for Team Expert. 29 to level 10, and core shots as Team Good Guys just can't control anything on the battleground. And
up to the top lane, Sonya can now push the lane back. She also has taken the Zappa camp, so that alone starts to push the lane in. And they are attempting to invade here once more. They are also trying to hold on to the bell towers they already have. Bad Benny has an easy time moving away from this one. And with Sonya coming in and Leap being ready, they can force another fight. And Sonya's already flanking.
Here she comes. A big group here, too. A big Leap comes in, hits Varian and Dahaka. Mighty Gust comes out from Raid Boss, but the Bell Tower still stands, and Kronos, coming at Cocoon, will be focused down. Yeah, goes down after the Cocoon was blasted away, so he is dead. No chance for him to use anything in that situation here. And that is still a 5 versus 4 with a single Bell Tower remaining for the Good Guys. Well, you know what they say. Good guys finish last. May actually do so in the standings. What? That was kind of mean. I don't know. We're going to have Team Expert working on
it. Wasn't mean, but I've never heard it before.
You never heard good guys finish last?
No.
Really? It must be a saying said in here in America. All right. I'll get you right up.
But you're not wrong.
Yeah.
It's actually very accurate when we are looking at the standings right now, and also at what Expert is currently doing with them here. I guess the playing Ducks are in the standings actually a little bit farther down, but the Good Guys are not really looking too pretty here. Yeah. They have fantastic games some of the weeks, and then in others they struggle. But it's also that Experts are just playing so well around this. Experts have just looking more crisp in every game. Last phase already, they did so well against any other team outside of the big three. Even got wins in against Team Liquid and others. This phase, they look fantastic as well. They're one of the teams that want to go to the West End Clash here. And so far, they are showcasing why that is. They have the 1-0 lead in the best of 5 series.
Top left? You don't know.
If not for a miracle, they're going to win this one too.
Well, 3 altar phase, 1 will go over to Team Expert. The last altar, if it is grabbed by Expert, they will win this game. Bad Benny's taking damage here. Leap comes out, immediate explosion, but the Divine Shield, Genji is applying some damage. Ancestral came through though. This is a 16 versus 13 talent fight as Xay dies on Genji. Now BKB is attempting to go for the Slugger. ADRD going full slap mode here as BKB is losing his variant. This is 3 deaths already. Raid Boss saves himself, but he won't save the game. That's right. It's going to be GG here. Rhaegar finishing the shots, and they will land on top of the core, and Team Expert comes out and dominates against Team Good Guys on Towers of Doom. The 2-0 lead in the best of 5 series. Great play once again by Team Expert, and Good Guys struggling here. Yeah, that was actually very surprising to see. I was expecting a little bit more rotations, a little more reactions there from Team Good Guys. They have the tools to double global, but you can also see how ineffective it can be if you're not on point with your movement, if you're not helping each other out at the exact moment. You have to hit those playmaking situations, and it just didn't occur. Also, the globals played basically no role. Yeah. They just didn't really get any value out of their global plays here. Most of the times it was the globals that were actually picked off by the quick rotation that we saw from Team Expert. So that was extremely well done. Abathur just soaking the entire time, the rest of the team rotating, then helping out with the symbiote quickly, only losing 1 or 2 minions. And just the kill count in the early game already told pretty much the entire day. Well, we'll be right back. We'll see if Team Good Guys can muster up some courage and come back against Expert.
身を捨てても妙理は捨てず
In his youth, Genji Shimada lived a carefree and self-indulgent life. But when Genji refused to join his older brother Hanzo in running their clan's vast criminal empire, he was mercilessly cut down and left for dead. Found by Overwatch and given a new cybernetic body, Genji struggled with his dual nature until the Omnic monk Zenyatta taught him to find inner peace. Now in the Nexus, Genji uses his elite ninja skills to fight for what's right. Genji is an opportunistic, mobile assassin who can tear apart a weak backline. Genji's trait, Cyber Agility, allows him to quickly traverse the battleground. When activated, Genji leaps into the air and lands at his targeted location, jumping over any impassable terrain in his path. His first ability, Shuriken, launches a fan of 3 ninja stars in the targeted direction. This ability can store up to 3 charges, and its cooldown refreshes all 3 charges at once. Deflect is Genji's primary method of self-defense. When activated, he briefly gains the Protected status, preventing all damage to himself and dealing damage to his nearest enemy whenever he is attacked, prioritizing heroes. Swift Strike serves as both a damage and mobility tool. Genji dashes forward a set distance, damaging all enemies in his path. If an enemy hero dies soon after being hit by Swift Strike, its cooldown is reset. Genji's first heroic ability, Dragon Blade, works similarly to how it does in Overwatch. When activated, he draws his sword and gains a powerful melee attack for a brief window of time. While Dragon Blade is active, hitting Q or R causes him to lunge forward and swing his sword in a wide arc, damaging all enemies he hits. X-Strike offers Genji a more front-loaded heroic option in terms of damage. He leaps into the air and carves 2 giant slashes into the ground, damaging all enemies they hit. He then delivers a third and final attack as he lands, dealing heavy damage to all enemies in the targeted area. Genji is at his best when using his considerable mobility and deadly ninja skills to burst down vulnerable opponents. Cyber Agility doubles as both an engage and an escape. Talents that enhance his trait grant additional options for outmaneuvering the enemy team. Even Genji's basic attacks boast impressive mobility. After starting a basic attack, he can move while the attack finishes, allowing him to poke at his enemies while dancing in and out of their attack range. Shuriken can deal a large amount of damage if all 3 hit the same target, making it deadly at close range. Use Shuriken to scout bushes and fog and interrupt opponents who are channeling objectives. Deflect works best against heroes with rapid attacks like Tracer or Li Ming's Disintegrate. Minions and structures can also trigger Deflect's counterattacks, making it a powerful offensive tool when diving into enemy fortifications. Use Swift Strike to finish off enemies with low health so that its cooldown is reset. Swift Strike always travels a set distance. It can land you in a tough situation if you're not careful. When fighting against Genji, use stuns and silences to interrupt Deflect and prevent him from escaping. Dragon Blade is particularly strong against isolated enemies. Split lane pushers like Gazlo, Zagara, or Asmodan are prime targets when activating Dragon Blade. The ability lasts for some time, so it can be used for clearing waves if all nearby heroes have been cut down before it ends. X-Strike offers Genji a powerful burst damage option. Because he is invulnerable while using X-Strike, activating it when multiple enemies are attacking you can help you avoid the damage and quickly turn the tide of battle. The final explosion deals more damage than the first 2 slashes, so make sure it connects. Genji is an augmented cyborg ninja whose agility and skill make him an exceptionally lethal threat. Make sure to leave us a comment and subscribe to Heroes of the Storm on YouTube and around the web, and we'll see you in the Nexus.
You need healing.
Expert continues to put on a show as they're up 2-0 over the good guys, and they seem to really want to represent Europe at the Western Clash.
Yeah, they do. And they have a good chance to make that happen if they win today and also take out Team Liquid next week. So they are looking currently fantastic. Good guys, they need to turn it around somehow. So far their drafts have not worked out, and they might change on the third map because they need to make that change right now.
That they do. Let's go to our third map and figure out where we'll be playing. Our teams will be going to Sky Temple as Expert will take the battleground. As good guys, they want to grab first pick again.
It also has to be a bit worrisome for the good guys looking at the standings now. We have at the bottom of the standings in Europe currently the Zealots, the good guys, and also, of course, the Ducks. But Zealots have gotten some really important wins in, and they still have a match against the good guys. So that could become a problem.
Yeah, I still want to say, though, the two teams that have came in for the HGC, they've been putting in a lot of work and it's starting to show. They came in and are facing off against teams that had a good 10 weeks of pure competitive play.
Yeah.
So while they might not be having the wins that they would like, they are still getting some nice moments in that will allow them to continue to improve, which is always good to see. It's what the HGC is all about.
Yeah, exactly. Having that regular play definitely helps you as a team. And of course, you can focus also much more on the play once that you made it into the HGC. So time is definitely going to help the teams to improve here, but for the good guys, improvement should come a bit faster than that if they are at least trying to get a few maps here today, if not even a reverse sweep. And this is basically the phase of reverse sweeps. We have seen 6 or 7 already combined in Europe and North America.
Especially in the first couple of weeks, it started to dwindle a little bit, but hey, why not bring it back, man? Bads are always cool. So let's go ahead and get ready for our Sky Temple draft. I'm excited to see how Expert will be pulling off the entire series here, as they're wanting to get a 3-0. They just want to get done and clean here so they can go straight to focusing for Team Liquid, who will be next week. So here we are, Sky Temple.
And if the Experts win here, it would also make sure that we don't have that scenario this very unlike that scenario I was talking about earlier would happen where we have a 3-way tie. But it would also just boost the map score on the side of the Experts. And that is, as we heard several times now, a really important factor. Not only in case of a 3-way tie, but also when you're looking forward to beyond the Western Clash. When you look towards BlizzCon, then the map scores are very likely to play a part into this.
Illidan and Medivh will not be allowed again here on Sky Temple. Greymane will be the first pickup here, as the good guys will grab him. I was wondering if they would move into Dahaka, but they decided not to.
Maybe a blow-up comp? Greymane does 2 things for them. First of all, a Greymane Avatar combination is not possible, and also it could make it easier for them to go into a blow-up composition if they want that. Their Illidan got denied, so they can't play around it, but they leave with a pick on Greymane. Now Uther, Genji, and a Nubarak open. They're guaranteed to get at least one of the 3, but that is still a very comfortable position for the Expert to be in, since they have a lot of cool picks to take, a lot of very high priority picks that are still available to them.
Well, knowing Expert, I wonder if they're going to go straight into the Uther and a Nubarak. There it is, actually. Let's go ahead and grab Uther, grab a Nubarak, so Genji is still available, but Team Good Guys will decide if they think that's worth it here, with them not having that D-Shield available for them.
Yeah, so either you ban him or you pick him now. That's the options that they basically have with this.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to go into Genji. If they are trying to play a bit more of a blow-up comp, then other comps would be a little bit better for them. But there's still also heroes around that we have seen banned out in previous series. Stitches still can work here. You can play him on this map as well. Globals, Dehaka, once again, trying to get that side soak, making sure that you have that top lane when the second temple phase is starting is another big tool for you.
Curious how Ariel's fallen in this roster between these teams. Speaking about it, and there she is, of course. There's Ariel and Gul'dan being brought in, so now we have a decent boss control with that Horrify. Got poke for the lanes, and of course a battery there for Ariel to keep pumping out those heals to match against Uther.
I still feel that Expert gets very much what they like so far, and it seems that they are a bit worried about potentially Vikings being played. That would be an interesting ban. We have seen the good guys play with the Vikings once, but
yeah,
I'm not really sure if I would respect it to a degree that I would ban them out here. But they are playing it safe, better safe than sorry. Just saying, as long as this is basically just Team Expert saying, as long as the standard comp is being played, we are the better team. We're going to take you down. If you play something nasty, we might have an issue here. And I guess again, ban on Genji does not really surprise us too much. We've been talking about him already.
Tassadar and Tracer is up. and we've seen it from experts.
True.
Good on this battleground. It's good against Gul'dan and Ariel in particular. It forces that Aegis to maybe use around a Pulse Bomb.
That is actually very true. We have seen it several times from them, and they could play it here now as well. So that's one of the options that they have. I'm kind of really thinking of how much I would like that. I mean, they can definitely play it.
It would hurt them on the wave clear. Tassadar would be good enough, but a new Barak kind of lacks on tanks for actually clearing waves. Very similar to Muradin, where he can kind of hold it, but it kind of costs him a little bit too much mana. So we'll see if Team Expert wants to go down that route. Other things that are popping around, we still have that Li Ming floating around, which can be good, especially when you add it with the new Barak. So we can get damage rotated in for Team Expert. It's a matter of seconds here until we find out what exactly they want.
I wouldn't mind a Li Ming either, but it's definitely a good option. Abathur first of all, and Dehaka. So Abathur, Dehaka, so they go down a different path where they focus a bit more on map manipulation. They can also, with Dehaka, burrow into a lane, have Abathur with them, and then go straight for a kill against an isolated target like Gul'dan or Greymane. And we have Zul now taken by the good guys. Okay, time for that roaming Zul that Alex wanted to bring back into the game. I think he succeeded. Get tricked.
But Abathur and Dehaka for soak, and then decent wave clear here from Dehaka. Will Zul be able to get an effective movement on the battleground, pushing his way?
I mean, Zul has a lot of, has a much harder time, I think, when he goes up against Dehaka and Abathur.
Yeah.
Simply because you can pressure him so much. But Zul can work for sure. I still like a lot what Expert has here. I think they really got their comfort picks. The opening with Uther and Anubarak is already amazing. And then you have the Abathur and Dehaka too. You still need a strong damage dealer from the backline, but there's still so much to choose from here.
Ooh.
And they go into a Jaina. I'm liking that.
Dude.
I've been talking at the mid-season brawl already a lot with some of the teams, with Fnatic and Dignitas, about Jaina, that she should actually have a place in this meta as well. The big problem with Jaina is that you have so many dive heroes right now. But what we see is teams getting way more comfortable playing around dive heroes, and also bans are targeting a lot more. You have bans on Genji, you have ban on Illidan, and with all of these heroes taken away, all of a sudden your Jaina is looking much better, because overall, she really works in what the meta is oftentimes doing. These blow-up comms that we see sometimes with Li Ming, for example, being played, work with the Jaina as well. And she brings a lot of additional tools to the table here, Wave Clear being one of them. So I like Jaina a lot in this case. I love that they're going into her.
If Genji is not on the opposing team, Jaina actually isn't a bad pickup, and I kind of miss her being in the rotation, so it's cool to see her back in the HGC.